Hi everyone, hope you all doing well. Welcome back to our channel. In this video, I am going to showcase how you can perform advanced DCR customization that can help you save a lot of data ingestion cost. And the log type that I'm going to choose is Windows Security Events. Now let me tell you something. This is the most complicated aspect which is available with Azure Monitor and Azure Log Analytics Workspace and data collection rule. And that's the reason this video will be a longer video. And as we move along, you'll understand that what type of detailing is required in terms of achieving this particular scenario. Okay, so let's talk about the use case. So I have a production environment where I have configured all the Windows servers to send security events to my Sentinel workspace. Just assume which is con-sentinel, and the DCR that I have created is Sentinel security event, which means what? This workspace is the workspace where default data ingestion is happening. Now I am giving example of Windows, but let me tell you something. Whatever I am explaining is something that can be replicated to any data source. Okay, now I have to customize it. Okay, I have to make sure that I can reduce data ingestion cost. Now for all practical reasons, don't make any change directly to this particular DCR itself. Instead, create a new workspace, create a new DCR, and then apply all the custom configuration that I'm going to showcase with the help of Postman to this particular DCR. And once you have observed that everything is working as expected, you are getting reduced data ingestion, then you can go ahead and apply the same changes to your first or your production environment DCR. Now, whatever I'm going to show in this particular video is exceptionally complicated, so have patience and then only you will be able to understand. Now, one more thing which I would like to bring in here, and that is that there is already ample amount of content that I have covered in the last 4 videos. And let me tell you, if you have not seen these 4 videos, then whatever I'm going to explain in this video will not make sense. So it's my sincere request, please go ahead and watch these 4 videos first, where I've explained about the purpose of build size, how to reduce data ingestion size, how to create a custom query, and how to access a DCR through API. So without any ado, let's get started with this particular video. So we are going to talk about Windows Security Event Customized Data Ingestion, where what I'm going to achieve is I'm going to remove certain columns from getting ingested so that the overall build size can be reduced. Okay, so the very first process is performing data filtering analysis. Okay, so for that, I'll come back to my browser and I'll go to my workspace, which is as of now receiving the data from my machine. Okay, so this is the workspace that I have used for Sentinel playlist. And as you can see, as of now, this machine or this workspace is actually receiving security event from a specific machine. And I'm only selecting top 10 events and I'm projecting away the columns which I don't need fundamentally. Okay, then I'm trying to see or observe what could be the estimated data size for all the columns for these 10 events, and this is what I'm getting. However, if for the same table I don't apply any filtering, then this is the data ingestion size that I'm getting. Okay, so you can see the difference. It's 12618 and here it is 11818. Now I'm talking about one single machine and only 10 events. You can do a typical maths, which I've shared again in the last video, that if you're sending around 100 GB of data in a day, or let's say 20, 30 GB of data that's coming from your Windows servers or your machines, then you can think about the data ingestion cost that you can save. Okay, so the very first aspect is to make sure that you create a KQL query. After performing data analysis, you create a KQL query, remove additional attributes and append source instead of table name. Now, what do I mean by this? That assume that these are the set of columns that I have to remove. Okay, which is channel, task, event level name, OP code, keywords, and management group name. So I'll copy this and I'll bring it to my machine where Postman and everything exists. And this is my final query. Assume. Okay. And then I have to remove or have to append practically source instead of the table name. So this is the query that I have to make sure gets applied to my new DCR. Okay. So if you remember, if I'll take a step back here, the query that I have just shown you will be applied to this new DCR that I'm going to create. And then if everything is working as expected, I'll apply the same KQL to my first DCR. Okay. So let me show you the first DCR, which I have, which is Sentinel security event. Okay. So for that, I'll go here and say data collection rule. And then I'm going to click on Sentinel security event. Okay. And if I'll click on JSON view, you'll see this is something where there is no mode transformation that is applied here. Okay. So now I'm going to create a new DCR so that the data ingestion can happen to a different workspace altogether. So as of now, all the data ingestion from my machine is happening to this particular workspace, which is con-sentinel. But I have to make sure that the data gets ingested to this particular workspace. Now, there is one more challenge, and that is that let's say if I'll show you my Sentinel console, and if I'll click on con-sentinel, and then if I'll go ahead and click on this option of data connectors, and then here I type AMA and Windows security events, open connector page. And this is the console from which I can create a DCR. And the only difference is that it will send the data to security event table instead of events. I hope you have already seen the AMA complete playlist where I was talking about DCRs. Okay. So you can see I'm not getting any option for choosing the workspace destination. Okay. So that's the reason why we will be using dedicated data connector, data collection rule console. And I will also show you how to change the mapping. Okay. So now let's come back to our deck and go to our first step. So this is something which we have already done. I mean, I have figured out what all attributes I don't need for a specific table, which is Windows security event table. I have copied the query and I have appended the table name with, or I have updated, practically speaking, the table name with the keyword source. Okay. So now I'm going to create a new DCR. For that, I'm again going to sign into portal.azure.com. You can see this is the account which has all the permissions. And now I'm going to click on create and I'm going to give it a name. Let's say customized Windows data ingestion. Okay. It does not allow space. So I'll just delete all these. Ingestion -cw. Now here I'm going to select the resource group where I have kept all my Sentinel resources. And here I'm going to select my location, which is Central India. And obviously I don't need a DCE for Windows. So I'm going to click on next. Now here I'm not going to associate the machine as of now, because then the default configuration will go and the data ingestion will happen. Okay. So I'm just going to click on next, collect and deliver. And I'm going to click on add data source. And here I'm going to choose Windows event logs and I'm going to say capture all the security events, audit and success. And with this being said, I can just choose any other option over here, as well as I can add a custom query. Now all this is something which has already been covered in a lot more detail. Now here I'm going to choose a different workspace now, which is this one, because as of now the data is already getting ingested to con-sentinel. So let me just show you that as well quickly. So if I go to my log analytics workspace and if I click on con-sentinel and if I'll click on logs and here I will say security event, show me the data, let's say for last 2 hours. Okay, last 30 minutes. You can see it is receiving the data. However, let's just run this query in the other workspace as well, which we are targeting, which is Sentinel, just to make sure it is not receiving any data from any other machine. Even though if it is receiving, I'll show you the filters, how we'll track everything end to end. Okay, so I'll click on logs, and now just show me the data ingestion in last 30 minutes. Perfect. So it's not receiving any data. So our end goal is to make sure that I send customized data in this particular workspace first, and then we'll make changes here as well. Okay. So here I'm going to select now Sentinel in my DCR, and I'll click on add data source, next, and then once all the validations are passed, I'm going to click on create. Now, there is one more very important aspect that I would like to bring in, and that is, if you remember when I was talking about data collection rules, I was very specific about the fact that if you will choose the default data connection rule console, the data ingestion will happen to events table instead of security event. Okay, so you can see it over here. The output stream is automatically populated as Microsoft-event. So before even we add this transformation, okay, our fundamental idea is to make sure that we change all these values first, and then we'll go ahead and make all the respective changes. Okay, so now the next step is to go ahead and access DCR through Azure REST APIs. Okay. Now, this is again something which I have shown in my last video. However, let's just quickly create the link to be accessed. Okay, so this is my KQL part. Okay, let's just remove it, and this is where I have kept final query. Perfect. Now, what we'll do is, firstly, we'll come back to our portal, and I'm going to copy this resource ID from here, and I'll go back to my notepad, and I will type https://management.azure.com, and then I'll paste this value here, and then I'm going to say API-version equal to 2022-06-01. I just assume that this is the exact value. Yeah, 2022-06-01. Perfect. Now I have to access this through Postman first. Okay, so for that I'll come back to my Postman, and I'm going to use authorization code flow, and let me just get a new access token. Perfect. I'll use this particular token, and now I will send the GET request to the actual endpoint, and let's just see whether we are getting any data or not. So I'll click on body. Perfect. You can see I'm getting the data. Now we have to make change in terms of changing the actual table itself, which is receiving the data. Okay, so I'll first copy this value end to end. I'll click on body. Okay, and let's just change all the streams section. So here I'm going to say this DCR should stream to Microsoft-security event. This is it. Stream is Microsoft-security event. Output stream is Microsoft-security event. And make sure that you have selected the right account as well, which has all the privileges, okay, to make the change. Now let me also open this DCR in two different tabs so that we can go ahead and track changes. As of now, it is Microsoft-event everywhere. But here, once we append the changes or once we make the changes, this should get changed to Microsoft-security event. Okay. So I'll come back to my Postman, and since I'm signed in with a subscription owner, so I have all the permissions. So now I have to change this to put. Instead of get, just change it to put. And then let's just verify it quickly. Microsoft-security event, Microsoft-security event, and Microsoft-security event. Okay. Let's just click on send and see what happens. The expected behavior is it will get updated. You can see this is what it is. This is what it is. This is what it is. Okay. Now I'll come back to my browser, and you can see here it was showing Microsoft-event, and let's just refresh the second tab just to see if all the changes are applied or not. Perfect. You can see now the data ingestion will happen to Microsoft-security event. Okay. Now the last step is to go ahead and apply the transformation KQL. However, there is a very organized approach which I wanted to show you folks, and that is moreover related to knowing how exactly these changes works. Okay. So by now we have completed this part of accessing DCR through Azure REST API. I have updated the data flow section by changing the table mapping. Now this is what we have to do, which is adding custom KQL query. Now there is a specific kind of method that you should follow, and I'm going to show you that. So this is the DCR which I've shown you in my last video, where we have applied a table transformation. However, a transformation KQL was added, right? So let me come back to my notepad and go to the section where I have copied the query that I have to apply. Okay. So I'll remove all this and this as well. Now see, this is my query. However, you can see the format is slightly different. So we have to adhere to this particular format. So firstly, I'll copy this particular section of transform KQL. I'll paste it here. Then source should get started with inverted commas. This query should end with inverted commas, \n. This is what it is. I've marked it. Now the next change is \n, then pipe, and then project away, and then again \n space, and then \n after every comma. Okay. So I'm going to remove this, and then the last one is this. So now you can see if I remove, or if I, let's say, bring it here, this is my actual final query that I have to get appended in the DCR itself, where it says transform KQL for the data source from which I'm getting the data. Okay, there is an additional pipe. Let me remove this. Project away, channel, task, event level name, OP code, keywords, and management group name. Now I'm going to copy this value, and I'll again come to my notepad, and I'll go to this particular section of transform KQL, and I'm going to just replace this line. Okay. So this is what is additional. Perfect. It is giving a formatting error because of additional inverted comma. Perfect. So now again, put and click on send. And the expected behavior is this is also something which will get completed. So you can see now this is my new transform KQL which has been added. Now I'll come back to my portal again, and I'll go to this particular section of my DCR, which is customized Windows data ingestion. You can see as of now, it was not showing any detail related to transform KQL, and then I'm going to click on apply, and I'm going to click on JSON view, and you can see this is what I am getting here. So this was the actual state of my DCR. You can see Microsoft-event and source, and this has been changed to output stream as Microsoft-security event with respective transformation. Okay, now I have to scope this to my new machine, but before I do that, let me tell you what all we are going to see. So once I scope the new DCR to the machine, we will estimate the data ingestion size, and we will also see the build size value for the same event, and we'll see the difference, how exactly the build size has been reduced, and then we'll talk about how exactly the entire data ingestion size when it comes to raw data ingestion is comparatively high as compared to that of customized data ingestion. Okay, so let me come back and perform the last step of associating this particular DCR with the machine. Now before I do that, there is one more aspect that I would like to cover, and that is, this is my machine. Let me just show you that quickly. This is my machine where I'm going to apply the DCR. However, as of now, this machine is scoped to one specific DCR, which is getting all the data. Okay, so this is my machine, and let's say if I show you the DCR, it's inside this particular folder. Okay, and I'll open this, and the DCR ID, or let's say the immutable ID, let me just, okay, let me close this first because I think it was already open, and I'll maximize this. So you can see this is the DCR. And let's say if I copy this value, which is 4ABA, and let me just show you the actual DCR to which this is applied, or this machine has been scoped, is this one. And if I'll click on JSON view, you can see 4ABA, and this is what I'm getting here as well, 4ABA. Now, if you guys recall, this is what it is. Okay, as of now, this machine is using this DCR to send raw data ingestion. We have completed this particular part, and now I'm going to just scope this machine to this particular DCR so that we can see the customized data ingestion. And then again, we'll resume with our last step of comparing data ingestion size. Okay, so now I'm going to click on configuration, and I'm going to click on resource. I'm sorry, this is the first one. Let me go to the new one that we have created, which is this one. Perfect. And yes, now I'm going to click on configuration and resources, and click on add, and then I'm going to choose my machine, which is this one, and then I'm going to click on apply. Now, as we know that DCR association might take around 10-15 minutes to be very precise, and then once this association is completed, then the expected behavior is that I should get data here in this particular table and with the transformation applied. Okay, so let me open both the workspaces and show you the difference. So this is Sentinel. If I'll go ahead and click on logs, the first one, it's already receiving the data, and the last data ingestion is around 1:58 p.m. Okay, however, here if I'm clicking on run, there is no data ingestion. Now there is one more aspect which is expected. The moment DCR is applied on this particular machine, we should see one more entry coming here. So I will pause the video, and once it is created, I will resume. As of now, it's 2:03. Let's see. Perfect. So it took around 5 minutes for the new DCR to get applied on the machine. And as you can see, this is my new DCR. If I talk about the ID, it's DAC016. And let me come back to my browser and go to overview and click on JSON view. Yeah, DAC, sorry, 016. Now the expected behavior is that in couple of minutes, we can observe data ingestion in my new workspace, which is this one. So once I'll see the data here, we'll resume again. And as of now, it's 209. Okay. Okay, perfect. So it took around 5 minutes more for the actual data ingestion to be replicated on the portal itself. So now you can see my Sentinel workspace is actually receiving all the data. Okay. And now let's firstly try to project the names of the columns which we have removed. Okay. So I think it was event level name OP code, and let's just verify it quickly. Refresh, customize Windows data ingestion. I'll click on JSON. So it's like channel task keyword. Let's say channel task keyword. Okay. And let's do it for time generated is for last 30 minutes. Task, I think there is something wrong. Task. Okay. And you can see these fields are blank. Okay. Now let's do something. Summarize total and sum the estimated size of all the columns in my new workspace. It's around 96765, and let's just quickly also run this here to see if there is any difference. You can see the difference. It's 171993 here, and it's 96765 for the last 30 minutes. So let me just conclude it again. We have applied all the transformation to this particular workspace when it comes to data ingestion by adding advanced queries here, and we can see the difference in the data ingestion for the same set of time frame, for the same set of logs. Okay. Now let me also just show you something which is the last aspect of our deck, and which was like calculating or reviewing the build size values for both the tables. Okay. So here I will say do project build size. This is the one which is receiving the data with reduced data ingestion, and here also project build size, and you can see this and this. The last aspect, again summarize total as the sum of build size. Here I'll copy this and I'll run it and do the same here as well. Okay, so here I'm getting 90843 and here I'm getting 136259. Now fundamentally the build size has been reduced by applying the transformation itself, and you can see it is still just one machine. Think about it, when you will replicate this in your environment which is receiving GBs of data, what kind of saving you can do. Okay. Lastly, if you think that all this is the expected outcome, then again you can just go back and follow the process of populating the same KQL query into your new rule. Okay, so you can add these two transformation into the rule which is the one which has been deployed for the production environment. Okay. So just to summarize, in this particular video, we have accessed DCRs with Postman, and we have changed the table mapping. We have applied an advanced KQL query in the DCR itself, which has resulted in the data ingestion getting reduced. And these are the two different workspaces which are receiving data. This workspace is the one where there is no transformation which has been applied, and this is the workspace where the transformation has been applied. And just to reiterate that it's only one single machine with which I was showing you all this. However, if you can think that once you go ahead and apply this to your enterprise, what all you can save. Okay, so thank you so much. Thanks for your time. And if you think that this channel is helping you to learn anything new, please feel free to comment. And in the next video, I'm going to talk about the auxiliary log plan, which has been released by Microsoft. So once again, thank you so much. Feel free to share this video with your technical community. And if you think, you must support this channel, then join the support membership or the advanced skill set membership. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.